North Carolina, 7 games, averaging over 19 per, and he shot it well from 3. Let's take a visit to the IBM Insight Center. Duke hasn't had much luck at home against North Carolina. How can Duke beat the Tar Heels at home for the first time in 5 years? That's the question in the IBM Insight Center. Well, there's a trend. North Carolina, the last 4 years, and their assist-to-turnover ratio has been very good until this year, sort of middle of the pack in the ACC. So the solution? Duke needs to force some turnovers, and the Blue Devils do that quite well. They lead the ACC with a plus 3.8 turnover margin. Time now to pick the game. North Carolina and Duke, who do you have?
You know, it's going to be tough for North Carolina to win, but I think they'll do a better job rebounding this game, and I look for Tyler Zeller to play well down low on the post in place of Ed Davis.
Yeah, I think Duke gets it done because of Schyer Single. He got 43 points in game 1. I don't think Carolina can shut them down. Plus, the other thing is Duke gets second chance points. That's big in this game.
Duke. Duke wins because of their ability to defend, and they've especially defended the three-point line very well. I don't think Carolina's going to get a whole lot from behind that line.
What North Carolina hopes to do tonight is be able to spoil the end of the season for Duke. Krzyzewskiville right behind us is largely vacated now, but the students haven't left to go on spring break just yet because there's a little bit more business to attend to here in this 8-mile Tobacco Road rivalry. Duke and North Carolina getting set to square up, and Dan Schulman will have the call.
Reese, the intensity is at a fever pitch at this moment inside Cameron Indoor Stadium. It is senior night here at Duke University with a share of the ACC regular season championship on the line. Welcome to the Infinity College basketball tip-off, bringing you the moments that define the season. And for these two programs, regardless of their records, this is one of these moments that defines their season. It is North Carolina and Duke in the best rivalry that there is in college basketball. A look at the ACC standings, and hey, Maryland won today at Virginia. Duke needs to win tonight to share the regular season crown and to get the 1 seed heading into the ACC tournament in Greensboro. Hi, everybody. Dan Schulman and Dick Vitale at noisy and sweltering Cameron Indoor Stadium. Listen to this noise. Great passion here. What are you looking for tonight?
Well, you know, you got so much at stake. You think about it. Duke's still trying to be a #1 seed. They want to certainly win the ACC and share it with Maryland. You have the fact they've lost 4 times in a row to North Carolina on this floor. So you know they're going to be fired up. Senior night. I'm fired up. You're fired up. Students are fired up.
Hard to hear, it's so noisy in here right now. Let's visit our Star Watch right now. We got a couple of seniors for you, beginning with Marcus Ginyard.
Well, you know, Ginyard's really been rebounding well. 35 rebounds in his last 3 games. He's given them a lot of rebounding power, and it's really affected the club. Jon Scheyer, he's been an All-American all year long. He's been sensational, and here he is on senior night.
Carolina's playing a little better. They've won 2 in a row, but they've got more health problems for the latest. Here's Aaron Andrews.
Dan, North Carolina head coach Roy Williams told us tonight he has never dealt with this many injuries in his entire coaching career, and he's going to have to keep his eye on 2 more players tonight. Deon Thompson is dealing with a bad back. It's something he says it's been bothering him for quite some time, but he hasn't practiced the last 2 days. He said after halftime tonight, he's really going to have to keep an eye on it because they're worried about him having that back tighten up. Will Graves is another player tonight, Dan, that has a sprained right ankle. He told me that it's going to be wrapped up so much he feels like he has a cast on it. Finally, I was joking around with Marcus Ginyard, who said, can you believe it? I'm like the healthiest one on the team this year.
Presented by Infinity.
Our motto is dream, do, and achieve.
It's amazing how much can be accomplished when no one cares who gets the credit.
And when they get to a game, fire you.
If we're playing for the ACC championship, you don't need to motivate your guys.
DirecTV. North Carolina and Duke are ready to go. Here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Look at the starting lineups just before tip. We begin with the visitors from 8 miles away in Chapel Hill. Carolina 16-14, 5-10 in the league. Drew and Ginyard in the backcourt. Graves, Thompson, and Henson up front, as Aaron told you. They've got some health concerns, but Graves and Thompson are starting. Scheyer on his senior night along with Smith and Singler, Thomas and Zubek. 2 other seniors as well. An emotional night for the Cameron Crazies.
And just remember this, 4 years in a row, North Carolina's been here and left with a W, but they had a guy named Hansbrough.
And a quick foul on Lance Thomas will send Marcus Ginyard to the line. Roy Williams says he has never dealt with a team that has had so many injuries in his 22-year career. It's the most losses in a season he has ever suffered, but he said, you know what? It is an honor to come into this building and coach in this rivalry, Carolina and Duke.
And he also said, hey, it's North Carolina and Duke. You got to really lace them up, come out to play, and play with some passion.
A win for Duke tonight, and Mike Krzyzewski will celebrate his 12th ACC regular season championship. And again, if Duke wins, they would share it with Maryland. Congratulations to Gary Williams and the Terps. They got a road win today. And Virginia, terrific season for them. Got that huge win over Duke on Wednesday. If Duke wins, they would share the crown with Maryland, but Duke would be the #1 seed in the ACC tournament on the basis of tiebreakers.
You know, Dan, Gary Williams, to me, has got to be the coach of the year in the ACC. He's done a phenomenal job. He belongs in the Hall of Fame, as does Rick Pitino. I don't know what they're waiting for.
Brian Zubek became a starter for the first Maryland game a few weeks ago and has been averaging double figures in rebounds ever since. Schyer, and a great start to his senior night.
What a career he has had. Mike Krzyzewski was just flowing with praise about Jon Scheyer, not only as the player, but as the person, the student athlete.
Says he's one of those special people that everybody's just got a soft spot for us. We've got a travel called on Carolina.
If there's ever a team that needs psychologically a good start, it's North Carolina. Take a look at Jon Scheyer. He's spotting up, and he does what he does best, baby. He can flat out shoot the rock.
Of course, a leading contender for ACC Player of the Year, probably a 2-man race, along with Gravis Vasquez of Maryland. Although Malcolm Delaney had another big game for Virginia Tech today. Kyle Singler knocks down his first attempt.
Tell you the big three, they produce about 67% of all the points. The 3 S's, super scintillating, sensational.
Drew into traffic. And it's going to be a held ball. Turnovers have been such a big problem for Carolina. They'll keep it on the arrow right now. But let's go back to the other end. And when Duke's knocking down threes, they're tough to beat.
Tell you better play on a perimeter against those threes. They flat, as you said, Dan, so well. They really make the three, especially throw in Nolan Smith, who can shoot 40% from out there. Hey, we're going to solve the problem with Player of the Year tonight. I promise you, I'm going to solve the problem with Player of the Year.
You going to tell me now, or you haven't worked it out yet?
Let's wait it out.
All right.
I'm going to go to the VBDI. Vital Ball Index is getting warmed up.
Henson with his offhand, a left-handed hook shot, and that young man, unfortunately for the team, a lot of injuries, but he has gotten more playing time and has started to show some of that potential there.
You know, he came in at 180 pounds, so physically it's been tough for him, but he's got the agility, and he's going to become a special player.
Scheyer's got a 3, Singler's got a 3, Smith has got a 3.
Who's super, who's scintillating, who's sensational? I'll let you decide, Mr. Schulman.
Henson driving, throws up a prayer, rebounds Zubek.
That was a prayer. That was a Hail Mary, and our Father rolled in one.
And neither of those prayers were answered for the freshman. Schyer again. And how many times have you seen Schyer get fouled on a three-pointer?
And you don't want to put him on a free throw line. He's simply, as they say, the best of all the rest when you put him on a free throw line. That was Tina Turner's big hit, by the way. Simply the best of all the rest.
Ginyard with the foul. And boy, you hate to see anybody foul a jump shooter, especially a fifth-year senior. And now Schyer, look at his development over the years. 3rd in the league in scoring. And his mom and dad are at just about every game, every home game, most road games. They've been following him around for 4 years. They're from Chicago. Of course, remember way back when Bruce Weber's brother was Scheyer's high school coach. Illinois wanted him desperately. He chose Duke. He's had a phenomenal 4-year career.
You know, Chris Collins told me he committed early, and you talk about Schyer. He's now one of the 6 finalists for the Bob Cousy Award, named after one of the great point guards of all time, along with Sharon Collins, Scotty Reynolds, Evan Turner, Rivas Vasquez, and John Wall.
Pretty good company right there. You're going to see more than one of those guys named first-team All-Americans at the end of the year as well.
You're going to see some of them named first-team All-American tonight.
Yep. Ginyard and Schyer matching up on one another at both ends of the court. Now Graves, who is Carolina's leading scorer in conference play. Desperation three. Almost got the bounce, and another rebound for Zubek, who is closing out his career playing his best basketball.
It's a nightmarish start right now for North Carolina.
Both Graves and Thompson less than 100%. Another player, Leslie McDonald, the backup guard who had 16 against Wake earlier this week, out with a strained hamstring. David Ware is out. Ed Davis is out for the season with a broken wrist. They haven't been whole pretty much the entire year.
You know, when Davis broke that wrist, the bone in his wrist, they were 49-49 with 11 minutes on the clock against Duke. Yep. Yeah, in the first meeting.
And he actually came back into the game. Remember, airballed a free throw, made the second one, I think. Played a little bit more, but hasn't played since.
You know, you and I saw them earlier when they beat Michigan State. They beat Ohio State. Obviously, they're a different basketball team now.
Look at the shot clock running down again. How hard they're having to work just to get a low percentage look.
That's not the North Carolina we've been accustomed to seeing. And certainly not the one that's won 4 years in a row on this floor.
And of course, the Hansbroughs and Lawsons and so forth are gone. This is a younger team. A team that's battled injuries. A team that was picked too highly at the beginning of the year, but still a team, I think that you would agree, Dick, has more talent than they've shown on the court this season.
Absolutely. I really question at times their passion and a really desire representing that uniform with a sense of pride. That uniform's got such great tradition.
Drew driving on Singler. And Drew was out of bounds when he touched that ball. It'll go over to Duke. A great start, Dick, for the Blue Devils, and a great start for the Big Three.
Well, I think the real problem is certainly all year long it's been the backcourt play. Inconsistent for North Carolina. But the trifectas are falling, baby. And that means it could be a long night for the Tar Heels.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by DirecTV. It'll change your life. Call 1-800-DirecTV. And in part by GMC. We are professional grade. And Buffalo Wild Wings. You have to be here.
The highest scoring trio in the country.
There goes Mr. Super Schyer.
What a big time three for Schyer.
There's Mr. Scintillating Nolan Smith. He gets the three.
Scoop goes for Nolan Smith.
And there's Mr. Sensational with the jump hook in the lane. Kyle Singler.
To Singler. How pretty was that? Well, few, if any, teams in America could match the perimeter strength or any kind of big three, whatever you want to call them, to the extent that Duke has. These guys have carried the load and have been so consistent all season.
You know, they're second in the nation right now in terms of a threesome producing. Number one, Fighting Irish Notre Dame, Big Three. Haringody, great news, back, played 11 minutes today. And what a job Mike Bray's done with that club, the 4 games they've won in a row.
The other two of the Big Three for Notre Dame, Tim Abromaitis, who has to be Big East most improved player, and Ben Hansbrough, Tyler's little brother. Huge road win at Marquette for the Irish, as you said, and they've got to be a lock to go to the dance right now, the way that they have finished the season with a number of big wins.
Absolutely a lot. Mike Bray has done a sensational job, and he fits perfect that entire system and what Notre Dame is about.
Both Plumlees into the game in the front court for Duke. Tyler Zeller has checked in for Carolina. Zeller in his 5th game back after missing 10 games with a stress fracture in his foot. Let's go courtside now with Aaron Andrews.
Well, Dan, it was almost like I knew what I was talking about. I asked head coach Roy Williams before the game what has to happen in the first 5 minutes for your team. And he said, we simply just have to make shots. He said, I know that sounds cheesy and corny, but we have to do it. He was right. He was afraid that this would happen with the emotion of senior night and, of course, the emotion that goes on here at Cameron.
And you better do it, Dancing with the Stars. We had a little warm-up before. I was dancing with her. She's ready to win, man. She's ready to win.
We got it, and there's her partner. There's Max right there.
Hey, Max, you should see, baby. I was dancing with her. She can flat out dance, Max. Don't mess her up, Max.
Dick, he can't hear you right now, but he wants to meet you, though.
There's Erin's partner. They've been working 6 hours a day. She's got the sore feet and the bruises to prove it. Good luck, Erin. Well, what an ugly start for Carolina. 3 points, better than 5 minutes into the game. You know, Carolina has not scored 80 points in a single conference game this year. If they don't do it tonight, that would be the first time ever that they fail to do it. Ginyard comes out. Graves comes out as well.
And that's what Duke basically averages, so they're going to have to put some points on the board. But you know what's amazing when you look at North Carolina? It's hard to believe that they've won 2 in a row for the first time in 2010, beating Wake Forest and Miami prior to this game.
They had lost 10 of 12 before those 2 wins. Carolina right now looking like the number 9 seed in the upcoming ACC tournament in Greensboro as Justin Watts is called for the foul. He's going to get some playing time with Leslie McDonald out. Again, if Duke wins, they'll be the 1 seed, Maryland 2. If Duke loses tonight, it'll be the other way around.
Tell you one thing, when you talk about, look at it, Mr. Davis sitting on the sideline, certainly one of the premier players for North Carolina. Having him on the bench certainly doesn't help their cause.
Now with a broken wrist for the rest of the season. Undecided, at least publicly, whether he will return for his junior season.
You know, I personally think he needs college.
I agree with you.
Physically, he needs college. He needs the strength. But will he be drafted as a lottery? Yes, a potential.
Smith misses a couple of times. Nolan Smith really getting after it on the offensive glass, and we've got another held ball. Duke's ball. As you mentioned, Dick, it was in the Carolina-Duke game back on February the 10th when Ed Davis suffered a broken wrist, broken left wrist, and he is a lefty. And look at the numbers. I mean, big rebounding numbers among the league leaders in blocks, double-figure score. And even though they've gotten Zeller back, and Zeller's terrific, boy, they miss the presence that Ed Davis offered at both ends of the court.
Now they rotate into his zone. Duke's so effective against the zones because of their passing ability and their shooting ability.
Andre Dawkins in for Nolan Smith. Dawkins will get an early look. And the rebound to Strickland. Strickland really pushing it. Carolina turns it over. That has been, of all the problems they've had this year, I think injuries and turnovers have been the 2 biggest problems.
Yeah, it really has. And perimeter shooting as well. And Roy, he really told us that before the season started. He was really concerned about those 2 areas.
Singler makes it a 10-point game.
Too wide open, Dan. Nobody challenging him. I mean, that's a wide open 12-footer. See, I really think when I look at North Carolina, their coach has got so much pride. I don't think they play defense with the pride you would expect out of a North Carolina team.
And Roy Williams has been the first to say, quote, "We have not competed as hard this year as we need to or as I expect them to."
Tell you one thing, they should compete half as hard as their coach. That's why he's a Hall of Famer.
Singler again, this time posting up.
Too easy, Dan. Too easy. I mean, you and I can make those shots inside.
7 for Singler, you think? Thompson, no. And the rebound down to Miles Plumlee.
This is the biggest Duke team size-wise in many a year. And he sort of changed a little bit his complexion defensively, trying to funnel more to the middle rather than extend the defensively on the wings.
They don't force as many turnovers. They're a much better rebounding team. In fact, they lead the ACC in rebounding margin. Saved by Singler, but into the hands of the Heels. Strickland off to Zeller, and he'll lay it in.
Keep waiting for Zeller to break out. I know injuries have really curtailed his growth as a player. That was an amazing game you guys had the other night, though, with Maryland. Vasquez has been so brilliant for Gary Williams. And Gary, to me, always one of my favorites. You're talking about a guy with intensity.
Singler on fire right now, already with 10.
Nobody challenging the perimeter.
Big collision, and the foul is going to go against Mason Plumlee to take us to a timeout. All Duke in the early going. Senior night here at Cameron Indoor Stadium of the Blue Devils, playing with a world of intensity. North Carolina and Duke, the greatest rivalry in college basketball.
Oh, it is super scintillating, sensational, baby.
But in recent years, Carolina has won more than their fair share against Duke. Tonight, though, it doesn't look like that, at least in the early going. Duke leading by 13. And to be fair, this is a much better Duke team than what Carolina's put on the court for most of this season.
Well, you look at North Carolina, certainly struggling offensively. They don't seem to have a rhythm. And on the defensive end, an area where it really gets the guts and heart, they are not exerting the kind of effort you would anticipate. Hey, at this place here, how good is Duke? Think about these numbers. They average 87 points a game on this floor at home, 69 on the road. They allow only 60 here on the road, close to 69. Field goal percentage, 48% versus 41. Three-point shooting, 42% versus 35. Rebound margin, better than +5 at home. Something tells me the Cameron Crazies play a vital role. And Mike told us before the game, they've been the best in the last decade.
And the best number of all that Duke has in this building this year, 16-0, have not lost here at home.
And if they win tonight, 17-0 is a record, the most ever at home.
Travis Ware in for Carolina. Drew's floater short, but a block called on Zubek. Ryan Zubek with foot problems for about 2 years of his 4-year career. Just starting again this season for the Maryland game, as we mentioned 3-4 weeks ago, and all of a sudden double-figure rebounder, playing with confidence, staying out of foul trouble. Aaron Andrews has more.
And of course, he has that dislocated finger, and I talked to him and Chris Collins about that today. That finger, Dan, by the way, matches the Duke color blue from dislocating against Maryland. He says it's fine, it's good to go. He's practiced with the tape since Wednesday night, and Coach Collins also says as well it shouldn't cause him any problems, which is good news, of course, along the way for the postseason.
And the Blue Devils, unlike the Tar Heels, Aaron and Dick, have been relatively healthy this season. You look at some of the really good teams in the country. Syracuse has been a very healthy team, and Kentucky has been a healthy team. Kansas has been a relatively healthy team. It's a big X factor.
You know, as you see the tape right there, the one thing about Jim Boeheim, though, he's healthy, but he doesn't want to see Rick Pitino.
That's true.
6 in a row they have lost to Louisville. What about that kid, the star of the day, Kurek?
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable.
Averaging 3.5 points per game, scored 22 today against Syracuse, all of them in the second half. Louisville beat Syracuse for the second time this season. That's got to lock up a bid for them, and that was the final Cardinals game at Freedom Hall.
Yes, sir. You know what's amazing? Rick Pitino is a master after his team gets blown out. They were blown out by Marquette, come back and beat Louisville. They were blown out by St. John's, come back and beat Syracuse. I said beat Louisville, beat Syracuse.
Tough shot by Graves. Another rebound for Zubek, his 4th already.
Certain coaches have that way. And Rick, to me, is a Hall of Famer, as is Gary Williams.
Schyer, nice kick. Dawkins, a good look.
He can shoot it. If you give him time, he went through a little bit of a slide. He went through a slump. He lost his minutes. He was really good for them earlier in the year.
They'll get a big ovation as he comes out to single.
There is no finer rivalry in college sports. I may give the edge in all the sports when you think about the Pinstripes and the Red Sox.
Drew around Zubek, and the layup rolls in for him. 3 points now for Larry Drew, who's had a much criticized season, wouldn't you say, Dick? I mean, you look at his numbers, and the numbers are okay, but if you look at his numbers between wins and losses, what a huge difference in his shooting percentage, his turnovers, and so forth. And, of course, replacing a guy like Ty Lawson, he's been under a microscope all season long.
See, I think the kid is playing up to his ability level. I think we have to understand people are limited in their talent level. You try to expect him to be a Ty Lawson. He is not a Ty Lawson. He is a good college guard, a kid that's in a system where they're used to one thing, being a top 5 team in America.
And Dexter Strickland, who's his backup, is not a true point guard. So they've struggled at that position. Men's college basketball continues tomorrow at 2 Eastern. A Big Ten battle between number 17 Wisconsin and Illinois. The Illini won in Madison earlier this season. They may need another big win to solidify their case. That's a big-time game tomorrow.
I think they're in pretty good shape. However, I sort of agree with you because they're starting to lose late. Same with Wake Forest tomorrow. Big game with Clemson. Lost 4 in a row.
Count the basket for Nolan Smith.
These three kids are so talented. Nolan Smith has increased his numbers from last year to the tune of a plus 9.5 to average 17 points a game.
And Mike Krzyzewski will tell you a lot of that was Henderson going pro, more opportunity for Smith. He thinks with Schyer leaving that Smith will have an even bigger role and bigger numbers next year.
You know, they don't have numbers, but vital contributors to Duke, Thomas and Zubek. Yeah. As you said earlier, Zubek really finally not injured. I mean, he's a kid that was criticized quite a bit throughout his career.
Deon Thompson, whose numbers have come down quite a bit in conference play, misses that 15-footer. Nice crossover by Smith. Count it again.
They're all fired up. The crowd is fired up. Cameron Price is going bananas. I think this Duke team has a great chance to be the #1 seed.
Roy Williams trying every trick he can think of in the Carolina huddle, but look at this score, 28-9. First it was Schyer, then it was Singler, now it's Smith.
Okay, those three have been such dominant performers. He's even getting a roll right there. You know, I mentioned the race for #1 seed. It's obviously going to come down with Purdue, Duke. Kansas State lost it today by losing to Iowa State. Villanova lost. Ohio State possible. I know they have 7 losses, but Dan, 2 teams with 7 losses in the 2000s got a #1 seed. Michigan State in 2000 and 2001 Illinois had 7 losses.
West Virginia in the conversation at all if they win the Big East Championship?
Well, win the Big East Championship, I think they're in the conversation.
But I agree with you. Duke's got an opportunity if they win tonight, and they're up 20 already. They go into the ACC tournament as the #1 seed. If they could win that tournament, they look like they'd have a real shot for the last #1. Mike Krzyzewski, by the way, told us before the game tonight, he doesn't care if they're a 1 or a 2. He said, wait till the brackets come out, and then I'll tell you if I'm happy with where we are and who we're playing.
Said he doesn't know where any of the sites are either.
That's right.
Said he's not concerned about any of that.
Well, none of them are that close. Sometimes they'll go up to Greensboro or somewhere close to home and play. None of them are close. You've got to believe, obviously, that Kansas, Kentucky, Syracuse are all going to be #1 seeds. You think Duke's got the inside track for the last one?
Well, I really do. Unless Purdue. Let's not count them out. Even though the eye test, you know, they say you have the eye test. You look at Purdue now without Robbie Hummel, they don't impress you. But they've won their last 2 games. And in fairness to all those kids in there, they've had a great year. If they go on and win the Big Ten, they could be a #1 seed.
You look at the substitution pattern now for Duke as well, and Mike Krzyzewski's rotation is as tight as it's been all year. Zubek and Thomas start. They come out in tandem. The Plumlee brothers, not twins, excuse me, the Plumlee brothers come in for 2-3 minutes, then they go back out, and then Zubek and Thomas, the seniors, come back in again. Dawkins spells one of the 3 perimeter guys every now and again, and that's about it.
And Zeller with a big nice move, splits the trap, makes the little jumper. He's got a younger brother that's really talented.
Of course, had an older brother who played at Notre Dame. This is Mason Plumlee down to Singler. Equally adept beyond the arc or in the post. Good matchup with Graves. Turnaround jumper. Offensive rebound, Miles Plumlee. His brother's in there as well. A couple of Carolina players hit the court. And we've got a held ball that'll give it to UNC.
You know, both schools really loading up on recruits. Roy Williams told us how proud he is of the kids he's got coming in because they're all winners. He said they're all winning state championships. Talking about Bullock and Marshall and Harrison Barnes.
And we bumped into Kyrie Irving before the game today. Right. Josh Hairston, 2 of the Duke recruits.
And he was telling us all about some great talent. Brandon Knight. He also loves Doc Rivers' son.
Yep. Good hands. And it's going the other way. Another Carolina turnover.
It's been turnover city all year for the Tar Heels. I tell you, this man is a Hall of Famer. He is absolutely eats, drinks, basketball, loves North Carolina. It's going to tear his heart out watching what's happened this year.
And a travel on Miles Plumlee. A 20-point lead for the Blue Devils. Again, nobody wearing a Duke uniform tonight has ever beaten Carolina here on their home court.
Well, it was a different Carolina team with Ellington and Lawson and Hansbrough. Danny Green.
Turnaround Deon Thompson. And it rolls in. Good soft touch off the window.
He's averaging about 13 points a game this year. It looked earlier this year that he was going to have a real big year. I knew they wouldn't be a top 5, but when we saw them Michigan State or Ohio State, I thought they'd be legitimate top 20.
Remember, they were picked tied with Duke to win the ACC in the preseason. And even back then, Roy Williams was saying, we're not that good. But even Roy, in his worst nightmares, probably didn't think this kind of a season was coming. Strickland, and they're having moments in the season when Strickland, give that young man credit. He's playing hard, he's playing aggressively, and he's got a bright future.
Well, I think he's going to be a good player. He came out of St. Patrick, the same school as Irving's from. They got a great junior down there. Some say the best junior in America, Michael Gilchrist.
Mason Plumlee.
Tell you one thing, though, there's no place I'd rather be than in a Duke Carolina game. Nothing is finer.
Singler off a screen. Got it to go. The big three are dominating here tonight. They've got 32 of the 35 points. Zeller at the other end.
And he's really upset, Mike Krzyzewski, with that transition defense. Zeller didn't get back. That's why he's such a winner, too. I mean, he could care less right now. He likes the scoreboard around plus 18, but he still wants to see that effort. He don't want to see him taking it easy a little bit because you got the big lead.
Schyer. That time didn't get the foul call.
The referee didn't see it. He was looking at the ball. He missed it. He should have been out of line. His grandparents are watching down in Sarasota, Florida.
Oh, your neck of the woods.
Oh, yeah.
Thompson around Plumlee. Fumbling with it. Recovers it. Got it back again and finishes. Good effort by the senior.
Yeah, real good effort. That last win they had was their 2000th in the history of North Carolina basketball. Only the second school to win 2,000 games. Kentucky is #1.
A 16-point lead for Duke, and one of the big reasons why, Dick, has been their touch from beyond the arc. They've got 5 threes already in this game.
And you better extend the defense and play on the perimeter against Duke the way they can shoot. They have 3 lethal weapons out there, and a 4th if he gets on fire, and Dawkins off the bench.
And there's Dawkins, who's hit one tonight, so 4 different Blue Devils have already knocked down a 3. Duke is a team shooting 39% from beyond the arc.
I'm going to give you my player of the year in this conference, and it's one of the toughest calls to make because of the play. And, you know, I feel bad for Malcolm Delaney because he's been great this year, but it's been Vasquez and Schyer really going at it. I'll tell you one thing, Virginia Tech, they're in the tournament. If they get a raw deal again like they did 2 years ago, that would be a crime. They beat Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech today. Seth Greenberg's kids deserve to be in the tournament.
Very big win, very physical, intense game today down in Atlanta. Delaney had another big game. So when are you giving us your ACC Player of the Year? A little bit later on?
When do you want?
Keeping us in suspense?
Yeah, we'll wait a little while.
No suspense.
We'll wait a little while because I'll keep going back and forth.
Singler. Zubek keeps it alive. Schyer for 3.
Wow. Credit that big 3 to Zubek, the big Z-man, getting the offensive rebound and finding the right guy, Jon Scheyer.
It'll stay with Carolina as we go to a timeout here at the Cameron Indoor Stadium. Duke is doubling the Tar Heels right now. Cardinals quarterback Matt Leinart is here.
Wow,
the
Leinart.
Stars are out tonight to watch Carolina and Duke. And if you're a fan of Carolina, you haven't enjoyed it at all. The big 3 are lighting up the Tar Heels so far.
Ryan Burr with SportsCenter right now. Louisville officially closed Freedom Hall in style today, knocking off #1 Syracuse 78-68. Reserve Kyle Kuric led the way with a career-high 22 points. The Cards sweep Syracuse on the season. Upset of the day, it happened at Kansas State. Shocked by Iowa State 85-82 in overtime. Back to Duke.
All right, Ryan, thank you. And as we talked about, it's 2 losses in a week for Kansas State, and maybe there goes their chance of a #1 seed, although they've still had a terrific season, and as hard as they play, they're a force to be reckoned with. A look at the top 10 in the country in the activity of the week. Syracuse losing today to Louisville. You've got Purdue, which had a close win over Penn State. West Virginia, an overtime win at Villanova today. A very big win for the Mountaineers.
And a win over Georgetown. So they had a big week for Bobby Huggins.
And speaking of Georgetown, by the way, Austin Freeman, diagnosed this week with diabetes, played today, scored 24 points in a lopsided win over Cincinnati. Short-term, long-term, we wish him the best on and off the court.
Yes, we do. We wish him nothing but the best. He can be an inspiration to a lot of young kids out there that are battling that disease. Tell you one thing, Louisville closed it in style. Where do you see Patino's Palace?
Is it nice?
I had a speaking engagement out there. They took me on a tour. I was blown away. I wonder how long it's going to take before they build Calipari's castle down there in Lexington.
Nolan Smith calling for the foul. Tomorrow, 2 Eastern on ESPNU. Women's basketball action for the Big East quarterfinals as Connecticut closes in on its own all-time winning streak. They've won 69 in a row. The record is 70. They will take on Syracuse in a quarterfinal. The Big East Women's Basketball Championship presented by New York Life are part of Championship Week tomorrow. And there's UConn, the women's team on the verge of history. Nolan Smith, are you serious? What a move!
Tell you one thing, he just keeps getting better and better and better. They look like a totally different team on this floor versus on the road. They really do to me. I know the numbers reflect it, but so impressive. When you watch them play out here right now, they look like they have a legit shot to win this national title this year.
Just froze Drew and then went right by him. Not to belabor the point, but after this dunk by Smith, the big three have 37 of the 40 Duke points.
Absolutely humiliating what they're doing out here right now. Playing really, look at the intensity, Chris Collins.
And something, an issue for Zubek as he comes out. Miles Plumlee back in, and yeah, they have been on fire. They've been on fire all season long, averaging better than 53 points per game. Averaging each of them better than 36 minutes per game. Already 37 points for the trio tonight.
Mike Krzyzewski doesn't want to hear about playing times. Doesn't want to hear about fatigue. He said these guys can play all day long.
Graves stops on a dime and the follow by Henson. And again, between the block shots, the dunks, the offensive rebounding, the potential is starting to seep through here with more playing time.
Yeah, you can see that John Henson really was rated as a great high school prospect. When you watch the kind of ability he has, he's got great skills for a big kid. He's just got to get stronger.
Away from the ball, a Carolina foul. We'll go to the under 4 media timeout. One of the all-time greats here at Duke, Christian Laettner in the house.
There he is, the big fella, yeah.
Coming up at halftime, the UPS halftime report with Reese Davis, Hubert Davis, Jay Billis, and presumably the coaches will be there too. Coach Knight and Coach Phelps, MIA right now. Where are they, Reese? Reese has got a little more leg room, a little more airtime. He's all right. 19-point lead for Duke, 3:45 to go in the first half here on senior night at Cameron Indoor Stadium. And Roy Williams coaching for tonight, coaching for all the tomorrows. A young team. You know, this freshman class, 5 deep. They've had a difficult season, but they've got a lot of talent. He's bringing in some talent next year. And been a difficult season for him. Health-wise as well. Remember the shoulder surgery, had his arm in a sling for several weeks. This year, Roy Williams won't hesitate, but he tells you it's been the toughest year of his coaching career.
Tell you one thing, though, they will be back. Trust me, he will not tolerate it. Harrison Barnes is going to be a major factor next year. You know, we showed Christian Laettner. Laettner's had 2,460 points in his career. We have right now Jon Scheyer closing in. I will go on and tell you, I think he's the greatest player ever to play at Duke.
Wow.
And there's been some great ones.
Some good ones.
Because of winning. When you look at what he did, he defined his winning as well as his individual talents, inside, outside. You know, in my book with Dick Rice, I had him rated the second best in my 30 years at ESPN. Number 1, I had Patrick Ewing.
Schyer, by the way, should have become the 10th Duke player to reach 2,000 points in his career. And steps by Thompson.
Just out of sync totally. Duke's defense has been very tough. At home here, they allow 60 points a game.
Well, you're going to keep us in suspense until the second half. Is it Schyer or is it Vasquez?
You know what? I'm going to lay it on you in a little while. I'm getting close. I'm getting really close.
You know, I can see the steam coming off the VBDI.
No, it really is tough. I'm going to tell you, Dan, I really haven't seen a scenario where it's so tough to pick the player of the year. I think the Big East, for example, I like Scotty Reynolds. And go over. Is that a good call? You like
That's
it?
a good call, but, you know, a lot of people, as Singler knocks down another one. What a night for him. A lot of people would say, hey, Wesley Johnson, Syracuse, you can make a case for that as well. 19, by the way, for Singler.
Singler having a major performance here.
Strickland open for three. Missed everything. Schyer ahead to Smith.
Wow, nobody back. Nobody back. Run, baby, run. It's blowout city. For the next break, I'm going to tell you who the player of the year in the ACC is.
I'll tell you who the player of the night has been in this one. Kyle Singler's got 19 already.
Yeah, anybody could see that, huh? Even me with one eye. He's been inside, outside. Kyle Singler having a magical day. A great catch. He made like a wide receiver right there. Great hands. All right, I'm going to tell you right now, okay? Right. You want my choice? You want my choice as player of the year in the ACC? Well, I'm going to take you on a little journey. 2001. Who was the player of the year? His name? Shane Battier. Co-player of the year, along with a guy from North Carolina, Joseph Forte. When both clubs, because it certainly looks, unless a miracle happens, they're going to finish in a dead flat-out tie. Yep. I'm going to be Mr. Politician. They should make that a co-player of the year. Vasquez and Schyer should get the co-player of the year, you know, like in 2001.
I think justice would be served if that happened. Their numbers are so close. It looks like their teams, as you said, are going to tie. The scoring and assists ever so slightly favoring Vasquez. The turnovers are higher for Vasquez. Vasquez's numbers have gone up a little as the season's gone along. Shyer's have come down, but either one of these guys is a worthy winner.
You know, I really think when you look at, you like to really give to the victor all the spoils. And both clubs first place, I have no problem having them share that award. I really don't. Just like Battier and Forte did. I did research to find out had they had a co-player of the year, and they did it in 2001. I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to do my Super 7 All-Americans. Vasquez and Schyer are both on that club.
There you go.
Hey, I know you like that. I see what you're singing. I like that.
I counted the basket on that one. Graves. He's the best shooter North Carolina has.
Not a good shot, though, is it?
No, we got a foul by Thomas. That's the second air ball by Carolina in about a minute. We saw a month ago tense in Krzyzewskiville for this game, not for the next Duke game, for this game. It doesn't matter to the Crazies if Carolina's up or Carolina's down. All of these undergrads, they haven't seen a win over Carolina in this building because Carolina's won 4 in a row.
I mean, they act like crazy sitting there as you watch them sitting outside, having a ball in their tents. Those are the future leaders of our nation. They are the future corporate giants, the doctors, the lawyers. Hey, Dan, you got to have like a 1450 on your SATs to even get considered. I mean, are you kidding me? I took him 3 times to get 1,500.
You think that guy got a 1450?
Wow, look at this guy. He probably 1,600. He probably blanked the test.
They know how to have fun. We know that. And Duke looking for a share of the regular season title with the Terps and the #1 seed heading into the ACC tournament in Greensboro. Carolina, if my math is correct with all the tiebreaker scenarios, a loss tonight, and I believe Carolina would be the #10 seed, dropping below Virginia on a tiebreaker. Schyer to Zubak doesn't get any prettier than that.
Really a great job passing the ball inside. I had someone ask me, do you think North Carolina will get in the NIT? I said, are we going to start talking about on the bubble for the NIT now? I mean, come on.
And Roy Williams has said if they get an invite, they will go. Carolina obviously is going to have to win the ACC tournament to make the NCAA.
I tell you, Zubak has given him another dimension with his rebounding prowess. He really has. That size has really worn people down.
Yep. 4 big bodies with Zubak, Thomas, and the Plumlees.
They're going to have one really bad performance against Georgetown.
That Georgetown shoot about 71%. Schyer. And the rebound to Graves. Shyer's got 7 assists already in this game.
They had a great performance against Gonzaga, though.
Turnaround Travis Ware, line drive off the rim.
You know, I remember the committee saying you got to really utilize the eye test sometimes. What you see in a team and what you see in his Duke team, even in a loss against Maryland, both clubs played so hard and played so well. With your eyes, you could see there were two quality teams.
Duke will run it down just a second or so, separating the game clock and the shot clock. What a first half here on senior night. Smith. And a foul.
They're really doing a great job with their motion offensively.
ABC is your home for the NBA Sunday Showcase, and it's a rematch of last year's finals, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Orlando Magic. It begins at 2:30 Eastern Time, and the coverage begins at 2 Eastern with the GMC Sierra NBA Countdown.
J.J. Redick getting some playing time.
Yes, he is.
Some good minutes there now with the Magic. I like that Magic. You gotta love Dwight Howard.
Watts and Strickland back in for Carolina. That was the third foul on Larry Drew II, who so far in the first half just 3 points, does not have an assist. A tough 20 minutes here for the Carolina point guard.
Tell you, the last time Duke beat them by 30 or more was back in 1964. Wow. You weren't even around.
No, that's true. Ginyard as time expires at the end of the half. Still 53-26. Duke demolishing Carolina here at the half on senior night at Cameron, and the big three, 46 of the 53. Aaron Andrews is with Duke associate head coach Chris Collins.
Dan, thanks. Huge first half for the big three, particularly Kyle Singler. What's been key for him so far?
Well, I think the guys have been patient. It's such an emotional night. I thought they did a good job of taking what was there. We made some shots early, which really helped, and we played great defense.
Chris, when you have a lead like this going into the half, what do you stress it for the second half?
Well, the score's got to be 0-0. This team runs up and down. You let up for a minute, that you can get 8-10 points. We got to keep playing defense in the second half.
Thanks for your time.
All right.
All right.
Aaron, thank you. It's halftime here at Cameron. Saturday primetime presented by DirecTV. Duke up 27. Coming up next, the UPS halftime report with Reese and the gang.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero. Real Coke taste and 0 calories. Welcome to the UPS halftime report.
Jon Scheyer on his senior night, 11 points in the first half. He passes Grant Hill on Duke's all-time scoring list, 53-26, and it's fitting that we're talking about where Schyer is competing against other Duke legends because nobody's stepping up to compete against Duke in the first half. Glad to have you with us, Hubert, Digger, Bob, and Jay here. This is the first half box score. That's what North Carolina would like to do with the first half if they could. An abysmal performance by the Tar Heels.
I think they want to get on the bus and go home because I remember once I lost the game 94-29 and we're down 41 at halftime and he beat me by 65.
Hey, I told you to quit pressing 5 minutes into the game. Don't give me that crap. I tried to bail you out of it.
Let me say this, though. If you look at Duke and they get 25 points off of Carolina turnovers and second chance points in the first half, that's a lot of points, Bob.
Hey, you know, there are two things where North Carolina, however, statistically is ahead of Duke in personal fouls committed and turnovers committed. They have a higher number than the Dukes do.
I got to tell you, I want to talk about the game, but when I see that two-shot of you guys, I'm wondering when the Fox touchdown. When do we release the hound?
Hey, you Jack Lemon. You're the other guy.
Walter Matthau.
Walter
Matthau. And you better hope my shotgun is
loaded. Are we better than the game? Are we better than the game? We're better than the game.
I think so. I mean, you know, hey, here, I don't want this damn thing.
I don't want it. Hey, listen, you guys had better stop doing this. We're going to put us out here for the entire second half to entertain America. 53-27. That's the break. Hey, Syracuse and Louisville, the finale at Freedom Hall. Syracuse #1 in the nation. Boeheim knew this was going to be a very difficult game to win.
Who is that guy?
That is Kyle Schyer.
Caddy?
That is the guy who caddies at Valhalla.
For Matt Billis.
He's channeling his inner Daryl Griffith. 78-68. #1 goes down. The last game in Freedom Hall. Louisville is a winner by 10. Keurig off the bench with 22 points. West Virginia and Villanova. Over 10 seconds to go. Deshaun Butler hit one, and then we see Corey Stokes hitting the shot to tie it 66 all now. And here goes Butler into the paint, Hubert.
Well, he's one of the best guards in the country. Late game situation, and Scotty Reynolds been clutch all year. Had a wide open three from the corner.
Nope.
Missed it.
Would have won it, did not. West Virginia 68-66. Villanova has now lost 4 out of 6. Maryland beat Virginia. That means all Duke can do is get a share of the ACC regular season title because Maryland already has one.
Just an amazing coaching job by Gary Williams all season long. Maryland with 17 offensive rebounds, 22 points off second chance opportunities.
A team that is in the mix, at least going into the day, for a #1 seed. Kansas State in the Big 12. At home against Iowa State. Denny Clemente's senior night in Manhattan. Kansas State needed a win to clinch the second spot in the Big 12 tournament. They dominate Sutton. That's the half-court shot at the buzzer. That's the game going into overtime. Deontay Garrett crossing and scoring. The Cyclones going on the road and getting the win when Pullman misses late, Dick.
Pullman misses late, but the fact is this. They shot 34% at home, went 3 for 23 shooting threes, and Iowa State said, hey, this is our Super Bowl. Let's get it done.
So Kansas State goes down, at least until we see what they do in the Big 12 tournament, probably hurting their case for a #1 seed. Texas continues to swoon as Baylor's now beaten them 3 straight times. Place Darius Dunn with 30.
Well, Texas shot 51% and still gave up 92 points. They also had 18 turnovers. Baylor scored 22 points off those turnovers. Another beatdown.
Here's some bubble scores here. UConn really hurt itself among some other teams, Bob.
I think they did. I'm so cold out here. I can't even see the ball.
Okay, I'll get you inside. I got the tea.
Thank
You want hot
you.
chocolate? Hot chocolate, Bob?
Dayton loses to Rick Majerus' St. Louis team. St. Louis has really been wrecking things for some other clubs in the A-10. They get
Irish.
20 wins on the season.
Irish are in.
Okay.
10-8.
All right.
Play Wednesday.
Okay.
You're getting warmer, boy. You're getting warmer out here.
Big East tournament. Don't have to play the first day. Make the second round. Get to the quarterfinals.
Get it done.
Get it done. That's what Kyle Single does in the first half. 19. Point to the paint. Point behind the arc. You got it.
Roll it. Roll it.
This halftime report is delivered by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
Welcome back to Duke, and welcome back to Saturday Primetime, presented by DirecTV. You knew with Carolina being here, with this being senior night for Schyer, Zubek, and Thomas, there would be so much emotion. Duke they've ridden the wave, and they just blew out Carolina in that
Well,
first
they
half.
blew them out because they shot the ball so well. 16 for 31 from the field, 14 for 15 from the free throw line. They made 7 threes, and the big 3 have been absolutely awesome with a capital A. They have been fantastic. Singler, Schyer, and Nolan Smith.
And Carolina was actually riding a bit of momentum coming into this game. They had won 2 in a row at Wake, at home against Miami. They were looking to make a statement and continue the momentum into the ACC tournament in Greensboro, but that's looking like a near impossible task right now, given the way the first half went. 46 points in the first half for the big 3. 19 for Singler, 16 for Smith, 11 and 7 assists without a turnover for Schyer on his senior night.
You know, the offensive efficiency was really outstanding for Duke, and they got wide open shots for their big 3.
Got a wide open look there for Smith. What a rebound by Zubek, fouled by Deion Thompson as we check in with Aaron Andrews.
Dan, I had a chance to speak with North Carolina head coach Roy Williams coming out of the half. I said, what was your message here for this second half? And he said, just compete. We didn't do that at all in the first half. He said, you know, we only shot 37%, out-rebounded by 10. They need to show some poise here in the second half.
Schyer, no. And so both coaching staffs saying, hey, pretend it's 0-0, just get after it and work hard and see what happens. here in the second half.
Well, if you're Roy Williams right now, you want his kids to play this game in segments. You say, let's play a little bit 5-minute segment. Let's see how we come out. Then we go another 5 minutes. And try to play for a little respectability, a little pride.
The most lopsided win ever in this series, a 35-point win by Duke back in 1964. Singler, Zubac.
Zubac's become such a factor with that size, hanging around the basket. You can't teach 7 feet, man. That is a God-given, would you say talent?
10 rebounds for Zubac already, just a minute and a half into the second half. Henson takes the bump and finishes.
I really believe Henson's going to become a quality player. I think next year you're going to see this kid really elevate his game. Here he is right now, splitting the trap, falling away.
And Henson will head to the line. A 6'10", only 195 pounds, but a great leaper, shot blocker. But he's got to get stronger if he's going to continue to improve.
You know, for the North Carolina faithful, and they certainly have their fans, I mean, it's going to get a lot better because I hear rave reviews about Bullock, about Marshall, and certainly about Harrison Barnes.
Singler, no.
He was wide open. Even, of course, that lane was wide open.
Well, Marshall is such a key, as you know, as well as anybody, how important point guard play is in college basketball. And next year, Roy Williams' 2 options at the point are Larry Drew and Kendall Marshall. Marshall described he's 6'4", not a blur, but a real, true pass-first kind of point guard.
And Bullock will give him that kind of scoring. Ellington.
Zubac with a rejection.
Hey, Zubac's going to get an opportunity, possibly to play certainly overseas, but he'll get a look in the NBA with that size. He will get a look.
And again, playing the best basketball of his career here in the last 6 or 7 games.
And I think there's going to be certainly a place for Jon Scheyer in some club coming off the bench, shooting that open jump shot. All I ever hear about certain kids is what they can't do. We heard about Tebow all the time in football, what he can't do. We never hear about what those guys can do. All I know is I told Mike and Mike last Tuesday, I'm betting on Tebow to make it, and Scheyer's going to make somebody's club.
Yeah, you could do a lot worse with a second-round pick to pick at him to play either the point or the 2 spot with the way he shoots the ball.
You know, not to be a star. We're not saying a star. We're saying a role player.
Graves. Off the shot clock, that'll be Duke's ball. Well, Jon Scheyer came to Duke with a big reputation as a scorer, but midway through last year, Mike Krzyzewski turned to him and said, I need you to be a point guard. And it wasn't like an overnight change for him. It took a while for him. Remember back at the beginning of this season, though, his assist-to-turnover ratio was so crazy, was so good. He was being talked about as a possible national player of the year. Don't think that's going to happen, but he's still got a shot, Dick. Wouldn't you agree to be a first-team All-American?
Oh, absolutely. I know he's going to make my first-team All-American when I announce my Super 7. Absolutely, the way he's played. You look at his numbers, wide open. That's what Roy Williams was talking about to Aaron Andrews. Where's the passion? Where's the pride? Where are you playing defense? Challenging guys, giving them open layups.
Singler with the drive and the pass. Zubac the score. Singler just got caught with an elbow in the nose, I think, by Graves, and a little shaken up, checking for blood at the other end. A reach-around foul on Lance Thomas, but Singler a little the worse for wear right now. Maybe it's just a contact that came out.
You know, you mentioned his
there it is right there.
Assist-to-turnover ratio, 2.8. He leads the conference right now. Schyer.
So Singler, okay, just a contact that came out. He popped it back in.
Came out of Oregon. Remember, it was all about Singler and Kevin Love as scholastic superstars out at Oregon.
Lance Thomas will sit down with his 4th foul. Mason Plumlee in. And this is where Duke is better than in recent years. They can handle foul trouble in the front court. Nice shot again by Henson.
That was like acrobatic. I mean, he's throwing up some real acrobatic shots in traffic.
9 points for Henson.
He was rated so high out of high school, wide open. I mean, wide open.
Lucky that didn't go down. Ginyard all the way. Here comes Schyer.
Ginyard certainly hasn't been healthy throughout his career. Last 3 games, rebounded really well. When he was healthy early in his career, he was a defensive force.
And how frustrating it must have been for him last year to be hurt, not be an active part of the national championship team down the stretch, and then to endure more injuries in such a difficult season this year as a fifth-year senior.
You know, last year, as you just mentioned, North Carolina, they were like a Joe Louis, a Rocky Marciano, Muhammad Ali, a heavyweight. We don't have that kind of team this year.
Duke up large on Carolina early second half. Mike Krzyzewski wearing a couple of lapel pins. The one on the right of your screen on his left lapel is in memory of a young man named Rory Deutsch. In 1997, Coach K was coaching at Michael Jordan's fantasy camp, and he's from Chicago, drafted a guy by the name of Ross Deutsch from Chicago to play on his fantasy team. They won the championship, became close friends. A few months later, Ross Deutsch found out that one of his three sons, then 6-year-old Rory, had a brain tumor. It was inoperable, and within months, at the age of 7, young Rory passed away. The family started a foundation. Mike Krzyzewski's an active part of that. They've raised over $7 million. Ross Deutsch sits on the chairman of the board at the medical clinic down here in Durham, one of the most renowned cancer and brain tumor facilities in the world, really, and they have become inseparable, the best of friends. The Deutsches have gone on to have 2 more children. They now have 2 boys and 2 girls, and just a tremendous closeness has come out of a tragedy for the Deutsch family. And a great column written by Andy Katz on ESPN.com just a couple of days ago. You can still find it about the relationship that developed and how Ross Deutsch has persevered through family tragedy, and how Mike Krzyzewski's been a part, and how each man has given to the other.
And I was so touched reading that. Andy did a phenomenal job. We sent our best out to the Deutsch family. Mike has got a heart of gold. Trust me, I know, because he's a member of the Jimmy V Foundation Board of Directors. He's done an amazing job over the years. By the way, we're going to have a very touching scene at our event. We have now got Mark Hirschland. Did you see the story of Mark Hirschland? The kid that was a great player at Boston College. Yep. They did a feature. He's coming to our event. We're going to show the feature, and he's going to say a few words May 21st. And remember, Magic Johnson's coming. So if you want tickets, people, go to my website, dickvitelonline.com. Help us beat cancer.
Henson into Zeller, and another Carolina turnover.
I can only simply describe this game one word for North Carolina. Ugly.
I think Roy Williams would share your sentiment, my friend.
I feel so bad for Roy because I know what a winner he is, what a competitor, and I just don't see the kind of effort out of North Carolina that you expect, as he talked to Aaron about at halftime. Competing and playing with a lot of heart.
Singler competing.
Look at that wide open shot.
21 for him.
Are you serious? Wide open shot. I mean, he's like, gets any shot he wants here tonight.
By the way, Singler is a junior, but of course some speculation, as Henson jams it, that Singler could opt to turn pro. This is not his senior night. He was not part of the festivities. That belonged to Schyer and Thomas and Zubek, but you wonder if Singler's going to be back for one more year.
I really do believe he'll be back because he's not charted very high in the ratings. They're looking at him as a second-round choice, and I think that he'd do himself a lot better coming back to school for another year. He can stroke that jump shot. He can really stroke it. He went through a little down cycle.
I bet you we'll have a chant of one more year before this night is done for that guy.
We're going to put you there with the Cameron Crazies. Did you have 1,400 on your SATs?
No.
Yeah,
I think you did. I'm a lot safer up here with you. Aaron can handle the Crazies.
I know one thing. Your children have 1,400 up there. They take after their mother.
That's right. Thank God for that. Travis Ware turns it over. Schyer. And he'll shoot a couple.
Third best free throw shooter career-wise at Duke. Number 1, 90% J.J. Redick. And number 2, the Alaskan assassin, Trajan Langdon. And right behind him by 1/10 of a point, Jon Scheyer. I can see his grandmother and grandfather right now jumping up with joy, cheering. That's our kid. That's our kid. Grandparents get so proud of their young ones.
Mike Krzyzewski told us a story that every senior, 2 nights before their last home game, Coach K's wife and daughters take the seniors out for dinner, for a nice dinner, and they ask them all a bunch of questions. And one of Coach K's daughters said to Jon Scheyer, "What has been the highlight of your career at Duke?" And Jon Scheyer's answer was, it hasn't happened yet. This is a program in the last 4 years since Scheyer's been here. They have not made a Final Four. Last time they were there is 2004 by Duke standards. That's a drought. Jon Scheyer said he thinks his highlight is still to come.
And he also said that VCU game, Virginia Commonwealth game, was really such a major disappointment.
The first round loss in the NCAA's a couple of years ago.
Eric Maynard, who's now playing in the NBA.
32-point lead for Duke.
And they're really playing defense like they're right now down 10.
A win tonight. Duke shares the regular season championship of the ACC with Maryland, which beat Virginia in a tough game today in Charlottesville. Duke would get the #1 seed in the ACC tournament, and Greensboro upcoming by virtue of a tiebreaker. Carolina looking like the 10 seed right now. Zeller a miss, Schyer a rebound.
That's hard to fathom, really. Hard to comprehend when you hear North Carolina as a 10th seed in the ACC.
And by the way, from what I understand from tiebreakers, Virginia Tech locked into the 4 spot. They'll get a bye. Clemson, if they beat Wake tomorrow, gets the 3. If Clemson loses, Florida State gets the 3. Schyer knows. Singler a one-handed rebound over Ware, and he'll reset.
You mentioned that game tomorrow, Clemson and Wake Forest. I really believe that's a big game for Wake. They've lost 4 in a row now, Dan. I mean, you lose 5 in a row going into the tournament. That is a danger time.
Just 2 regular season games remaining in the ACC tomorrow, and the one of note is Clemson at Wake Forest. Here's Duke trying to move into a tie with Maryland. They are on their way. Florida State again could wind up 3rd through 5th, depending on the Clemson result tomorrow.
The VBDI says Maryland, Duke, Florida State, Virginia Tech, Clemson all in. Wake Forest a chance. They better win tomorrow. Georgia Tech has to get hot in the ACC tournament and get a couple of wins, and they still have a chance. The one drawback you hear about Virginia Tech certainly is their pre-conference schedule, but they've made that up with their play in League One.
Strickland coming out, getting some medical attention, appears to be shaken up. Graves was getting iced earlier. He came in with a sprained right ankle. Thompson's playing with a bad back. Leslie McDonald's out with a bad hamstring. Strickland in some discomfort as they tend to him. Ed Davis out with a broken wrist. David Ware out for the season with a hip problem. They don't have enough bodies to practice with right now. There has not been one player in the Carolina rotation who has been healthy all season long. But all that having been said, that's still no excuse for 67-33.
Well, I'm telling you this, there are a lot of teams have bumps and bruises.
Yep.
I mean, that's a way of life
Yep.
at this time of the year. I mean, a major injuries when you look at the kid Davis.
Broken wrist, done for the year. Zeller from 18 feet away, a 7-footer with nice touch, post skills, just a sophomore. A lot of upside for Tyler Zeller if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, you really expect him to break out. He's got some good skills for a big player, as you said, Coach Schumann.
Andre Dawkins back in for Duke.
Carolina's season low this year is 51 against Georgia Tech.
Singler is fouled by Ware. He'll be going to the line when we come back as Duke continues to pour it on North Carolina on senior night here at a deliriously happy Cameron Indoor Stadium.
When we make shots, you in our house. We can't be stopped. I fake the J.
And right on cue, here they are. Ryan Cornell winning the Ivy. Congratulations to the Big Red. Winthrop winning earlier today over Coastal Carolina in the Big South. East Tennessee State over Mercer. And as Ryan just told you, Murray State over Morehead State. He mentioned Butler. That Butler championship game is a big game. Obviously, if they win, they're in. If they lose, they're still in. But that takes away a spot from a bubble team.
Absolutely.
So all the bubble teams are hoping that the favorites in some of the mid or smaller conferences win out.
East Tennessee State's coached by Murray Bartow. Beat Mercer. Bob Hoffman had a chance to speak down there at their facility. It's gorgeous down in Mercer. Really beautiful.
Singler piling up the points. 25.
There was no mystery, my friend. The 4-game drought 4 years in a row here against North Carolina is going to be tucked away.
Travis Ware back from an ankle injury that cost him a few weeks.
Schubert keeps getting those rebounds, man. He keeps adding up those rebounds.
That's a dozen.
He had 16 points and 17 rebounds in a win over Maryland here earlier.
Got another rebound.
That's right. Give him the ball. He deserves to shoot one. Rebounding away. Are you serious? Are you serious, Mr. Zubac? He's making like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with a little jump hook.
Eight points, 13 boards for Zubac on his senior night as well. Ware with a tough off-balance shot, but he draws the foul.
Hey, he deserved the ball down in that low post,
right.
Zubac. He really did. There he is, the big fella, calling for the ball. Now he's going to step out. He's going to step out the little jump hook. There he is, everything he's doing. I tell you, he came out of high school with a big-time reputation, but then had all those injuries. He had both feet, I believe, broke both feet at one time.
But you saw the numbers in his last 7 or 8 games, the best numbers he's posted in his career. Ryan Kelly will get some time here as Singler comes out.
Ryan Kelly was a highly rated player out of high school, local kid. Singler gets a little break, gets a little TO.
And now Ware will be replaced by Thompson.
I think we got to start thinking about All-American teams tonight. I think I got to get on Mr. Producer, Mr. Dean, who's done a great job on these Saturday night productions. They get a little All-American team together. He and Doug Holmes, what a combination.
Calling the truck out on the air, Dickie B. How about that? That's low ball.
No, they do a great job.
They do a great job.
Terrific tandem.
Jeff Dufine and Bonnie Riley, Kate Leonard, Joe McCoy was with us earlier, Tyler Churchill. We've got a great crew. We've got a #1 seed of television crews in the truck with us here on the Saturday night games.
We got the national championship team.
Yeah.
The national championship team. Wow, look, our names are up there. I can't believe our names are on TV.
You say nice things about them. They put your name on TV.
Wow.
Thompson over Kelly. In and out. Carolina gets it back.
Tell you, my friend, there's nothing like March Madness. It is by far the best of them all.
Zubac a foul, not a popular call here to Cameron. #3 on the big guy.
You know, we had a party at my house for the Orioles. Welcome to Sarasota. I was going to watch Dawkins with the Drive. And you know what all they wanted to talk about? Was March Madness.
Really?
March Madness, that's all. I wanted to talk baseball.
Well, are they Maryland fans? Being from Baltimore, are they Terps fans?
Yeah, a lot of them did like the Terps.
Yeah.
They did like the Terps. They have a lot to like. Tomorrow I'm going to see the Red Sox, man, and the Orioles.
The environment in which you have to shoot free throws here at Cameron.
But if you can shoot them, it doesn't matter. The shooters don't care about the screaming and the yelling. Jack, why don't you? You're a baseball guy. Come back with me. Get back. We'll go back tonight. We'll see the Red Sox tomorrow.
Singler. That was Thompson, I believe, on the rejection. Here comes Henson.
Nice pass.
And Drew can't finish. Henson.
Tell you one thing, he utilizes either hand.
Yeah, he
really
does. He's playing well tonight.
He's
One of the
very
few
active.
bright spots for Carolina.
He's very active. He's the only bright spot I've seen thus far, other than the coach. The coach is coaching his heart out like it's a one-point game.
Well, as Bob Knight said at halftime, the only 2 categories Carolina was winning at the half, fouls and turnovers. They had committed more of each, and they just added to their turnover total. That's number 11.
You know what else I like? The general said at halftime? Watch out for Cornell. Cornell, Randy Whitman's son, Ryan Whitman, could shoot the rock. It could be a dangerous team for some major club.
Jim Boeheim sang their praises to us a couple of months ago. They played them early in the season. They were very difficult out.
Jim Boeheim's my coach of the year. They were projected to be 6th in a conference this year, and they rose to be #1, even though that was for a short time. But he's my national coach of the year.
Men's college basketball continues tomorrow at 2 Eastern. You know, Bo Ryan almost annually could be considered for coach of the year. Number 17 to Wisconsin will travel to Champaign to take on Illinois. 2 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow here on ESPN.
You know, Illinois has been a little bit of a slide lately, but Illinois had a win at Wisconsin, which was a major win. But now they got John Lure back, and that's a big plus for the Badgers.
Going to be interesting to see between Ohio State, Purdue, Michigan State, Wisconsin, who makes a run in the Big Ten tournament and who really helps their seeding for the big dance. Well, you're looking at the three seniors, Thomas, Schyer, Zubek. A big night for all of them. You know they'll come in one more time and then come out one more time to get their last ovation here at Cameron. Henson in transition. Thompson follows up and is fouled.
He got fouled. I had two interesting interviews. You would have really enjoyed them. Two really good guys interviewed me yesterday. One from the Wall Street Journal was talking about venues. It was talking about the Palestra that I brought up here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. How we don't see enough of these kind of venues. We have more of the magical places now, like the NBA kind of places, 20-some thousand. And I love these environments. And then the other interview I did with the New Yorker, it was about, you know, what makes certain coaches such big-time successes. He was talking about John Calipari in Kentucky, and I brought up, you know, the Caliparis, the Roy Williams, the Mike Krzyzewskis. They have one magical gift: communicators. They really have a way of communicating their concepts to their people to get them to respond.
100%. 34-point lead. Singler lost it to Ginyard. Haven't said his name in a long time. Watts. And it's a block on Kelly.
You just don't see any kind of rhythm offensively. Pass the ball, cut, screen, and Roy's still coaching his heart out.
You can see Mike Krzyzewski in the background calling a 30-second timeout.
Two Hall of Famers, two genuine Hall of Famers.
The rout continues here for the Blue Devils.
Ryan Burr with SportsCenter right now. Louisville officially closed Freedom Hall in style, knocking off #1 Syracuse 78-68. Louisville likely securing their bid into the NCAA tournament. Upset of the day, Kansas State shocked at home by Iowa State 85-82 in overtime. And guys, coming up at 12 a.m., Joe Lunardi will have his latest edition of First Four In, First Four Out. Plus, the guys will debate the #1 seed least likely to make it to the Final Four. We're back at midnight, guys.
Hey, Ryan, I want to know one thing. Does Joe Lunardi get a chance to eat? I mean, the guy's unbelievable. He's a workaholic. Joe Lunardi in. Oh.
At the beginning of the day, by the way, our resident bracketologist, Mr. Lunardi, had 7 ACC teams in. So that includes Virginia Tech, which obviously solidified its resume with a win at Georgia Tech today. That includes Wake Forest, which has lost 4 in a row. And that includes Georgia Tech, which lost at home today. And their strength of schedule is pretty good, but boy, they've had some ups and downs and perplexing performances this year.
Well, you know, losing 5 of your last 7, I think, really puts you a little bit on the outs, and depending on what happens in some of these tournaments, that could be dangerous. You know, everybody talks about how down the ACC is, but the one thing is they got a lot of clubs during that 30 to 40 category.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by DirecTV. It'll change your life. Call 1-800-DirecTV. And in part by Infinity, luxury cars that deliver inspired performance.
Well, about a month ago, they started lining up, so to speak, pitching their tents for tickets to this game tonight, 73-40. And there's the inhabitant of tent number 14, who waited a long time for her seat and obviously had plenty of time to make a sign in tent number 14. NIT, that's got to hurt Carolina fans. Yeah, Roy Williams not in Kansas anymore. Now, let's not forget he's won 2 national championships in Carolina. Say uncle. Pretty creative stuff here. And, boy, this has been a tough pill to swallow. If you're a fan of North Carolina, this has been an old-fashioned beatdown here tonight at Cameron to the tune of 73-40.
Well, you know, the last time Duke was in the Final Four was 2004. Since that time, Roy Williams has won 2 national titles, and he's been to the Final Four 3 times.
And, of course, what was it, 8-9 years ago, Dick, where Carolina had a couple of down years, and Duke was at its peak. And things are cyclical, and they go back and forth. But one thing you know is neither one of these programs is going to be down for very long.
No, they get healthy quickly. Just like a Notre Dame can in football or Texas, great programs can get healthy quickly.
Away from the ball, a foul on Justin Watts of North Carolina. The 3 seniors, by the way, have checked back in. Thomas, Or at least Thomas and Schyer have. Zubek is still on the bench, but this is the final home game for all three of those Duke players.
You know, Duke's had an NBA high 14 players on NBA opening night rosters. But ready for this? Those alums have combined for an NBA salary in excess of $82 million.
This year.
Wow. I'd like to get 5% of that, baby. Wow. See, Mike Krzyzewski should be the agent for that. He should get at least 1% of that $82 million. He helped to make them some stars. He doesn't need any more cash, though. He doesn't need any more cash.
Smith. Blocked by Thompson. And Carolina comes up with it.
Just sitting here thinking, since we got a blowout, do you think that if Mike Krzyzewski wanted a Nets job, that he can get himself a nice piece of change?
There's no question. But he seems pretty happy right where he's at.
Oh, he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. He loves it here, loves living in this area, and he represents this university. He fits the puzzle perfectly, just like Roy does at Carolina, Mike Bray at Notre Dame.
Lance Thomas with the foul, and Lance Thomas has fouled out, so his career here at Cameron has come to a close.
Tell you what, he's been a solid player for them. Not a lot of publicity, not a lot of notoriety, but a lot of W's. How many is 105 coming into tonight?
A great career over 4 years in a support role. Mom looking on here at Cameron.
Plus he's getting a degree from one of the finest private schools in America.
Every team needs a guy like him. Just to do the dirty work, a blue-collar kind of guy.
Well, guys like, you know, you talk about Zubek, the Plumlees, the Thomases. You don't win big unless you have those guys rebound. Right now, they got the best rebounding margin in the ACC.
The lead is 30 for the Blue Devils. Just over 6 minutes to go here on senior night in Cameron. Duke's going to go on to share the ACC regular season crown with Maryland. Duke will be the 1 seed in the ACC tournament. Maryland number 2.
I really get a kick out of all the people that really get so upset whenever you praise Duke. They don't want to hear about it, and that's just that little envy. I mean, when you think about their success like the Yankees, like the Notre Dame for years in football, people don't want to see teams that are up on top of that mountain.
Schyer frees himself and hits another one. You know, you make a great point. There's a perception that Duke has been a little bit down recently compared to some of the things they've accomplished. They have won 7 of the last 13 ACC regular season titles and 8 of the last 11 ACC tournament championships. That's pretty good.
But not bad. And they also average about 25 wins a year.
Yep.
Hey, talking about a lot of wins, can you believe this? Florida plays Kentucky tomorrow. Florida, in a scenario, the last 2 years won 49 games. They've already got 20. They have a chance to win 70 games in 3 years and may not have an NCAA bid. 70 W's.
Win tomorrow would sure help. Nolan Smith with 20.
I love his development. He has just become a star. And wait till next year when he accepted that kid Irving. My guy, Super Garf, Mr. Garfinkel, he raves about Kyrie Irving. He goes on and on.
Mason Plumlee a block. Deion Thompson cleans it up.
He line drive that baby home.
Schyer, Singler, and Smith, super scintillating and sensational. As you said earlier, 63 of the 78 points.
When all three are playing well, you got no chance to beat them. You got to hope that one of the three is going to be subpar. Because when they're all playing well, it opens up spacing. It helps other players inside get layups like we saw with Zubek.
You know, they don't foul either. You rarely remember these guys getting in foul trouble. All three of them play huge minutes.
Interference.
Basket interference on Miles Plumlee.
Also, they're dangerous in a close game because they shoot free throws so well. Take a look at those numbers. Wow.
Came into the game tonight just behind the trio at Notre Dame for the top scoring threesome in the country, but Didn't see the box score, but given what we know from this game and that Notre Dame, even though they won, didn't score a whole lot in that game, I got to believe Duke has now moved past them as the highest scoring trio in the country. Good hands by Zubek, who is checked back in as we go to the under 4 media timeout here at Cameron. It has been a whole lot of fun for everybody here at Cameron all night long.
Davis with the baseball pass left side. Broken up by Monroe, and it's over. And the college in Charleston has upset North Carolina.
It's sad to me to see that North Carolina has got to this level.
This is a North Carolina team that may have been preseason top 5, but make no doubt, they're not at all the same club they were a year ago.
My gosh, guys, how can we go any lower? I mean, to be honest, I mean, how could it be any worse than it is right now?
And hard to imagine it getting any worse for North Carolina. They'll drop to 16-15, finish 5-11 in league play. Only 8 miles apart, but boy, it seems like 8 million miles the way things have gone this year. Duke, a possible #1 seed. North Carolina may be lucky to get into the NIT.
Absolutely. They are on the bubble for the NIT.
The NIT bubble, not a conversation you hear often in Chapel Hill.
You know, it's interesting. It'd be interesting to see if they can get one win in the ACC tournament, because they got a streak going. I think it's the last 5 years they've won at least one game in the tournament. I feel sorry. This guy has such passion, such feeling, such love for the university. And what he's watching is going to tear his insides apart. I mean, you think about Michael Jordan and James Worthy and all the greats, the Phil Fords, watching this kind of display of basketball in a North Carolina uniform is going to tear them apart.
Ryan Zubek comes out, the senior finishing his Cameron career.
Tell you one thing, you got to really be proud, that family of Zubek, the way he battled and battled and battled to get to give them quality minutes. So a lot of people could have given up on that kid.
13 rebounds tonight for Zubek in his final home game.
Ted has great chemistry on his team, but you know, winning will do that. Winning will bring about that chemistry. I think Gary Williams said it to me once the best. He said, the one thing about Duke, you can beat them, but you are never, ever going to play Duke where you don't get a supreme effort. And that's a tribute to Mike Krzyzewski.
Ginyard to Henson, who has to adjust the shot, is fouled by Miles Plumlee.
And that's a special gift that you have. Bob Knight had that as well.
Tomorrow at 2 Eastern on ESPNU, the Connecticut women continue their run towards a possible record as they seek their 70th consecutive win that would tie their own record set several years back. It's in the quarterfinals of the Big East Championship against Syracuse.
You know, certain coaches, I remember Bob throughout his career, the one thing, you may beat them, but they're going to play with incredible passion and pride all the time.
A 33-point lead for Duke. The crowd erupting as Jordan Davidson, a grad student, a guy who just never plays, is going to come in likely for Schyer, who's going to get an even bigger ovation here in his final game at Cameron.
Schyer closing in on that 2,000 mark at Duke. There's only been some special guys that have been in that category.
Smith the pull-up. Plumlee, and he pushed off. So now with the whistle, Davidson will check in, and Schyer will come out. Points, 7 assists for him in his final home game. And
look at
Mom and Dad pretty emotional. They've been on this journey for 22 years, but for the last 4 years at Duke.
Lot to be proud of, not because he's a fine basketball player, but just listen to Coach K talk about him as a person.
Yeah.
How to break the hearts of the people of Illinois when they didn't get him. Mr. Basketball in Illinois, played for Bruce Weber's brother.
Duke will milk the clock, be patient. This one was really never in doubt from the moment it began.
From the layup drills.
And for these Duke players, this will be the first time any of them has ever beaten North Carolina. Davidson. Well, that would be the cherry on the sundae right there if he could knock down a
Nice
shot.
pass.
Henson stripped by Davidson.
Coach K getting 8:59 tonight. Closing that gap. He'll be the first guy in men's basketball, barring any illness or anything, to win 1,000 games. He has so much more coaching in him. He's got this program in such high gear. He'll win his close to 30 every year. You know what I'm thinking of right now? The kid Irving. He must be sitting there saying, I can't wait. I can't wait to put that uniform on and join Nolan Smith next year.
Kyrie Irving out of St. Pat's in New Jersey will be the point guard for this team next year. Smith floats it up. Miles Plumlee, that's the exclamation point of the night.
Let me just tell you this. If they got 5 better than Irving, they should get the NCAA championship automatically, according to all the reviews I'm hearing from people.
Short term, Duke's going to head into Greensboro as the #1 seed with a chance for a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Christian Laettner having some fun. He was a part of some pretty special teams here.
He got his little son there. He'll be a future Dookie. He's probably shooting a J right now. I'll tell you one thing. To me, Duke is the 4th #1 seed. I really believe that.
Do they have to win the ACC tournament?
You know, depending on what happens with Purdue, I still think you got to give Purdue a look, even without Humble, if they were to win the Big Ten. But I don't believe they have to win the ACC to get that #1. I think if they go and win 2 games there, I think they've earned it. When you look at that resume and body of work and the eye test, they look like a #1.
Miles Plumlee comes out. Steve Johnson has come in for Duke. Casey Peters has come in as well, and Roy Williams has emptied his bench also.
How good has this conference been? The ACC's had a team in the Final Four in 10 of the last 13 years.
And look at the long faces on the other side. For every sweet victory, there's a cruel defeat. And, boy, what a way to end the regular season for such a proud program.
They've had so much success. Nobody's going to feel sorry. When you're up on top and they can knock you down, whether it be Duke, Carolina, Kansas, they're going to come after you.
Well, again, if my tiebreaker math is right, Carolina's looking at the 10 seed in a game against Georgia Tech, the 7-10 game of the first round of the ACC tournament. Duke would await the winner, I believe, of BC and Virginia in the 8-9 game.
ACC tournament titles, Duke 17, North Carolina 17. I think that becomes a big game for Georgia Tech. That becomes a must, I really believe.
Shot clock turned off. Senior night has been a rip-roaring 2-hour party here at Cameron for the Crazies, with Schyer, Thomas, and Zubek finishing their home careers in style.
They were absolutely sensational tonight. Man, it's been great working with you all year. Another regular season, 31 for me in the books. I want to thank Phil and Doug, all the guys in the truck. Another great regular season comes to an end.
Our thanks to everyone down in the truck. A great crew. We're going to see most of them in Greensboro for the ACC Tournament. Championship Week is on the horizon here on the ESPN family of networks. And Duke has locked up a share of the ACC regular season crown and the #1 seed going into the ACC Tournament. There are 2 games going on tomorrow. Clemson can get a bye, can move into the top 4 if they win at Wake Forest tomorrow. If they lose, they'll drop down to the 6th spot. Florida State would stay in the 3, so there's still some things to be be decided, but you get the idea. This is based on how they stand right now. 82-50 Duke. Jon Scheyer with Aaron Andrews.
All right, Dan, thanks so much. Well, we'll get to the game first. What was key tonight for such a great start that led to this blowout?
I thought our defense was the key. I mean, we were all over the place. Our bigs protected the basket, and offensively we shared the ball, and that's how we need to play.
We saw the emotion from you, from Coach K, even your parents in the beginning and at the end of the game. Put into words what it was like to be a part of this for your final night against North Carolina.
It's unbelievable. I was just trying to soak it in. Obviously, I was focused on the game. But you look around, there's no other place like it to play here. And it was great to get this win and end up undefeated at home.
A tremendous night as well for the Big Three. What has it been like playing with those two guys this year?
I mean, they're great to play with. We have great chemistry. We really play off each other well. And they're really talented guys. And we have a lot of different strengths that make each other better. So tonight before a game, we said we need to put it all together, all three of us, and we did.
There's a lot of talk now. Will you guys get the #1 seed in the tournament? Talk about what kind of momentum this gives you heading into the ACC and the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it helps, obviously, to get a good win like this. But we need to move on. Obviously, ACC tournament is tough. And then wherever we go in the NCAA tournament, that's fine with us. We'll be ready to go.
Congratulations on a great regular season career. We'll see you in Greensboro in a couple of days.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, Aaron, thank you. Jon Scheyer celebrating senior night with 25 points and a win. Mom and Dad are looking on with pride here at the Cameron. Excuse me, Schyer with 20, Singler 25, Smith 20. The Big Three sensational senior night, a big success here at Duke as they demolish Carolina 82-50. SportsCenter is next on ESPN. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Dick Vitale, Aaron Andrews, and our entire crew, I'm Dan Schulman saying thanks for watching and so long from Cameron Indoor Stadium here in Durham.
85-82 in OT.
Duke had lost its last 4 home games against North Carolina at Cameron Indoor. Blue Devils a chance to break the streak and finish the season unbeaten at home on senior night. Jon Scheyer, one of 4 seniors honored. Game day crew predictions.
I think North Carolina will win tonight. I think they'll do a better job rebounding the basketball on the offensive end.
I think that Hubert should get the Alumni of the Year award from North Carolina because they're going to get their rear end beat here today.
All right. They can wear the hats indoors. Schyer for Hurt. And this would be a recurrent thing. Nolan Smith spots up. This was a blowout, and it was a blowout early. Smith had 20. Singler had 25, knocking him down. Brian Zubek's become a cult hero there. The kick out to Schyer. Bang. Duke by 19. Now, it was this kind of a night for Roy Williams. Just watch Roy Williams evolve. Watch the expression evolve over the course of the night. You know, first he's agitated, then he's just flat out hollering at guys, yelling, doing what he can, down 26, and it's only halftime.
Agitated, discombobulated.
Oh, like the Knicks. No play for Mr. Gray. Schyer had 20. Only 2 Tar Heels in double figures. It is a Duke wipeout, 82-50. Wow. So there you go. Will Duke jump into a 1 seed with K-State's loss? Blue Devils entered Saturday, ranked 2nd in the RPI, playing the 8th toughest schedule in the land. They are 8-4 versus the RPI top 50. They've beaten Gonzaga. They've beaten Maryland on their way to a share of the ACC regular season title, the Terps. For more from Durham, the men who called the game for you here on ESPN, it's Dick Vitale and Dan Schulman there at Cameron Indoor.
Senior night here at Cameron, the best rivalry in college basketball, North Carolina and Duke, but it was a mismatch here tonight.
It was a mismatch because the Big Three for Duke were absolutely sensational right out of the get-go. They dominated offensively, defensively. What a phenomenal night. Schyer started it all as they're bombing threes. I mean, you mentioned Schyer, Singler, Smith. They were all on fire. I'm going to take a look right now. There's the jump shot. Singler knocks it down. Then we're going to watch right here another trifecta by Mr. Singler. And now we're going to watch him kick it out to Nolan Smith. Nolan drops it down. Nothing but nylon. rolling up with the loose ball, change of direction, Jam City. It was all the Dukies tonight. Look at those numbers, Dan.
65 points for the three of them in an 82-50 win. So Duke will share the regular season crown of the ACC with Maryland. Duke will be the #1 seed going into the ACC tournament in Greensboro. Big picture, where do you see the Blue Devils?
Well, I see the Blue Devils becoming a #1 seed. I really do. I think they're going to join the likes of Syracuse, Kentucky, and Kansas. Their resume is very impressive. Wipe out the one bad loss to Georgetown. They've had so many good wins. The blowout over Gonzaga, dominant. I mean, I really believe this club has the look. They said the eye test, they passed the eye test.
Well, we'll get another look at them in Greensboro. We'll see you there. The ACC tournament is the next thing on the menu for Duke.
On the other side of this, we hope to hear from Carolina's head coach coming up. It's been a rough season in Chapel Hill. The defending national champions have now lost 15 games this year, 3 more than any other Roy Williams coach team has ever had. Only 2 other times in a Williams coaching career has he lost more than 10 games. One of those was his first year as a head coach, 88-89 at Kansas when they lost 12. Plenty more college. Duke and North Carolina. This was an absolute wipeout as Duke finally beat the Tar Heels in Durham. They lost 4 straight to Carolina at home. 82-50 is your final. Nolan Smith had 20. Schyer had 20. Singler had 25. And what turned out to be the 15th loss for North Carolina this year. That is 3 more than any other Roy Williams coach team has ever had. It was certainly a tough night for the Carolina coach. Here he is after the game.
There's not a lot you can say. We got our tails kicked. I told them if they take this and learn something from it and change, then you can still get something. But if you just say, oh, well, you're not going to get anything from it. You're not going to get anything from it if it hurts, if you don't change. And we've got to change our behavior. I mean, even the last play of the game, I'm trying to run a play for James Gallagher because he hadn't scored all year long. We can't even listen and pass the message along to other people. But if you can take something that's this bad and hurt from it and learn from it and change, then you've got something you can take. But if you don't change, it's you're not going to get anything from it.
Well, much has changed in Chapel Hill after reaching the pinnacle of college basketball last season. 09-2010 is one the Tar Heels would love to forget. 15 losses this year. It's most since the 02-03 campaign when Carolina finished 19-16. UNC just never comfortable away from the Dean Dome, winning just 2 of its 10 true road games. They just couldn't get it going on the road. And barring a miracle run in the ACC tournament, the Heels will not be going dancing. It could be the second time in the last 3 seasons that the defending national champs have missed the NCAA tournament. Reese and the Game Day guys in Durham.
And now the final Saturday of the regular season, at least the one before championship week cranks up in full. And you had some surprises once again. #1 Syracuse going down. But guys, as you look at it, I don't think that's going to affect the Orange in terms of being a #1 seed. Probably still stipulating Syracuse, Kansas, Kentucky in great shape. What about the 4th #1 seed?
Well, I think Duke is deserving a #1 seed, but regardless if they're #1 or #2, this is a team that's talented enough to get to a Final Four and win a national championship. The Big Three have been terrific all throughout the year. Brian Zubek has stepped up on points, rebounding the basketball, blocking shots, rebounding. If they can get some help from the bench, from Mason and Miles Plumlee and also Andre Dawkins, I think this is a team that can win a national championship.
But I look at Duke also for the other reasons. I really think Coach K has done a great job with his team. They bounced back from that loss at Maryland. But more important, when you see the Big Three get their 65 points, and we're looking at Smith, Schyer, as well as Singler. But the other thing they did a great job of tonight, how about 43 points off of turnovers and second chance points? I think no matter where they go, they will be a #1 seed, probably head west, because west to me is an easier way to get in because Kentucky's going to go east, Syracuse south, Kansas, and Duke will do very well out west.
Kentucky, Syracuse, Kansas are #1 seeds, no question. The last #1 seed, there are only 2 teams, in my judgment, that are vying for it. Duke is in the prime position to get it. If they win the ACC tournament, they will get it. The other team is Ohio State. Now, Ohio State has 4 wins against the top 25. That's actually more than Duke. Duke has more wins in the top 50 and top 100. But I think Ohio State will get a little bit of credit for losing 3 games when Evan Turner was out. It depends. If they win the Big Ten tournament, I think Ohio State is the only team that can take a #1 seed away from Duke.
All right, Jay, let's look at the teams that I guess most would consider in that top 16 echelon in the country, teams you would expect to make the Sweet 16 on paper. Who would you say is vulnerable to an early exit in the tournament?
Name me one that's not. I mean, Kansas and Syracuse, I don't think are vulnerable to an early upset. I think they will be in the second weekend. I think they're both Elite 8 teams. I don't think they'll lose before then. Outside of that, I don't see any team that's not vulnerable to getting beat early.
Yeah, I look at Butler. I mean, it's an outstanding defensive team. Offensively, they can really shoot the basketball. Gordon Haywood, Shelvin Mack. But Matt Howard is their only big guy. He's only 6'8". So if they play a team that can really rebound the basketball and also score consistently down low in the paint, that could give them trouble in the early rounds, Coach.
I have not been impressed with Kansas State. I know they're in the top 10. I know everybody's been impressed with them. They're talking about maybe a #1 seed. But to lose to Iowa State at home, that blows me away. They shoot 34% for the game. They didn't guard. And I'm saying this, wouldn't surprise me to see them lose in the second round matchup.
Kansas State, disappointing way to finish their regular season before headed to the Big 12 tournament. Championship week has a way of turning things upside down. We'll see how it all unfolds in the coming days, just a week away from Selection Sunday.
Breakdown.